Amphibia is here. Let's talk about it. Hi guys, Blood Moon Bobby here, and yes, I checked out the first two episodes of Amphibia. Really glad that I had the chance to watch them. They're available for free on Disney Channel's YouTube channel, and I'll have a link down below for you guys to check them out. And part of the reason I'm glad is just because I know I've been doing a lot of trailer reactions on my channel, and I don't always get around to seeing these shows and movies I have interest in. But for this one, because I was able to watch the first two episodes for free, even ahead of Amphibia's premiere, that was why, I wanted to do it for this one. And I actually wanted to do this video as a live stream, but because my schedule is really busy, like I said before, I have a full-time job that takes over a lot of my time. I'm not able, I don't think I have the time to do an Amphibia live stream right about now. But if you guys have any thoughts on the episode, please be sure to let me know in the comments. And maybe in the future, if I start watching Amphibia, full time, then I'll do a discussion with you guys. So we're here to talk about the first two episodes of Amphibia. The first one is called Anne or Beast, and the one that comes after that is Best Franz. Something about Amphibia that I'm sure isn't going to make YouTuber Johnson Hoodaypool happy is that this is yet another show it's a half-hour series that consists of two 10-15 minute episodes, which I know some people don't like that format because then that means they have to make the story really tight and have to pack more things into a smaller space, if you know what I mean. But personally, I don't mind that too much. Some really good shows work in that format, like Steven Universe and Star vs. the Forces of Evil worked in that way, but I personally don't mind. As far as these two episodes go, I would say they were pretty good episodes. They're very simple, introduction episodes. It's very evident that, these two episodes are meant to clearly establish, the world of Amphibia and the characters like Anne, Sprig, and Sprig's family. So so they're very basic introductory episodes, and they're surprisingly relatable in ways that I'll get into as I discuss, these episodes. So let's actually start off with Anne or Beast. And the idea behind Anne, oh, by the way, major spoilers in this discussion, because I'm going to be talking about everything I possibly can. So Anne or Beast, I would say, is a pretty decent starting episode. It's the episode where Anne suddenly pops up in Amphibia, and all the frogs think that she's this kind of monster, with a face bump, aka her nose, and this creature that's walking around. And this is the part that actually struck me as really relatable, and I think that's the strength, or at least so far one of the strengths of Amphibia, and what makes it stand out is that it was actually really relatable in terms of Sprig originally wants to go out and hunt the beast in order to prove his responsibility to his grandfather, Hop Pop. And the main reason is because his Hop Pop trusts his Sprig's sister, Polly, more than Sprig himself, because Sprig has done a lot of destructive stuff in the past, and it basically has labeled them. And without getting overly specific, I honestly could really relate to that, because I was a person who grew up feeling that the people around me trusted my sis more than I did because it's kind of weird to think that Polly is Sprig's younger sister, and I had a lot of family members who seemed to like my sis more because she was getting better grades and she was more aware of the world around her and things like that. And so that's the part that I really feel that relates to me, although I really should be judging the episode, more than just, oh, hey, there's an element that really relates to me. But I thought that was something that the show really pulled off. But aside from that, it's a very simple, introduction episode. Sprig finds out that Anne is a human. She's not a monster that's going to come and eat the citizens of Amphibia. All the citizens, kind of gather together, and, they want to start hunting Anne down, but then this evil grasshopper comes up, and Sprig and Anne take it down, and the whole townspeople, at least start to ease off. I don't think they fully trust Anne yet, but they're not in a position to take her down per se. So, so basically an episode that introduces our main characters, Anne, obviously, is, a typical, girl from Earth. She's not here to attack Amphibia and things like that. So I would say, yeah, as far as an introductory episode goes, it was pretty good. I mean, I would say, so far the relatability I had with Sprig being, the sort of pushed aside, untrusted older brother really related to me as a person who was in that position myself when I was younger. So yeah, I do like Anne or Beast. I thought it is a pretty decent start. The next episode that comes out, Best Franz, the one where Anne gets homesick, so Sprig wants to take Anne over to this lake and swim. This one I didn't relate to quite as much, but my friend Valentina Ruiz, who is now known for her Star vs. the Forces of Evil petition, said on Twitter that the thing is, Sprig actually never really had friends in his life because a lot of his friends found him kind of weird and overly eccentric and that sort of a thing. And and I shouldn't laugh because like I do understand Valentina's perspective, and Valentina said that she really related to that. So I think so far that's really Amphibia's strength, is that it puts characters into some really relatable scenarios, and I definitely think a lot of people would also relate to this idea of having a protagonist that feels kind of rejected by the people around him. Because Sprig, like I said in Anna or Beast, he's already kind of looked down upon by a Hop Hop. So I think that kind of goes with what they're doing in this second episode, where Sprig doesn't really have a lot of friends because they see him as kind of weird and eccentric. But like I said, so that part's definitely done pretty well, I would say. As far as the rest of the episode goes, once again, they go out, Anne and Sprig, they go out into the lake. They discover the snake monster, and they take it down. Of course, probably one of the I did notice a few Easter eggs with this episode, though. I would say probably one of the things was the key element. One of the key things that happens in the episode, speaking of the word key, is that Anne and Sprig have to get the key to go out of their house, because Hop Hop doesn't want them going out because he's worried that everybody in the valley isn't used to Anne yet, so he's being really overprotective. The funny thing about that is at the very end of the episode, I noticed that on the book that Hop Hop was reading, it says something along the lines of acting lessons for failed actors. So I'm thinking, is this going to be a key part of maybe a future episode? And there's also other hints within this episode hinting that there's going to be hinting of like maybe the broader storyline. And actually, speaking of that, the very first episode in the ending reveals that Anne currently can't go outside of Amphibia just yet because the foreboding mountains around the valley, and they're not going to clear up until the next 2 months. So it's already starting to set up a continuity, I feel. And the second episode really does that, especially towards the end. So I'm wondering if we're going to hear more about like Hop Hop's past as an actor or failed actor. I'm wondering if this shows off maybe more of his sympathetic side, because Hop Hop so far is portrayed as this really paranoid, grandfather of Sprig and Polly. Like, he doesn't really trust Sprig, yet at the same time maybe they'll like dive into his past. Maybe some people double crossed him when he tried to be an actor and that sort of thing, and maybe that's why his personality is that way, where he's super paranoid and isn't exactly trusting of people, like not even his own grandson. And that's sort of a thing that might be something that'll be explored in a future episode, and I'm really interested to see where that goes. And at the very end of the episode, we find out that one of Anne's friends, it's hinted that she is actually in Amphibia as well. And I think the reason is because the way Anne got to Amphibia was that she actually stole this magic box from a thrift store on Earth because her friends wanted her to, kind of wondering why she wanted to go along with it. And when she opened this box, all these rainbows started popping up, and boom, she all of a sudden ends up in Amphibia. So I'm thinking that maybe the rainbow box also got to her friend. So we only see one friend at the very ending that is captured by this creepy frog-looking villain with a scar on his face. It kind of looks like, the scar that Scar from The Lion King has. So I'm wondering if this means that the second friend is also in Amphibia, and we'll just have to wait and see. So I would say the second episode once again continues to establish some things, but I really think in a sort of a sense, maybe sort of more of a background sense, it's definitely setting up things for the entire series. I said in my Amphibia trailer reaction, I was wondering if the series was going to be like continuity driven, or if it wasn't going to have a continuity, or if it was going to have a sort of very light continuity, like a show like Hey Arnold has, where even though you could watch most of the episodes in any order you please, there's still some ongoing things throughout the series to keep an eye on. So I'm, at least from the first two episodes, it sounds like Amphibia is going to have, quite a bit of a continuity. But I think we'll have to see more episodes play out to see if it's going to be to an extent where it's like Gravity Falls or Steven Universe or Star vs. the Forces of Evil, where it's super continuity driven, where you're it's a really good idea to start from the first episode before watching the more recent ones. So maybe for like protection reasons, if you're considering getting into Amphibia, I highly recommend watching these first two episodes. Like I said, they're currently for free on Disney Channel's YouTube channels if you guys want to check them out. But I would say overall, Amphibia definitely had a decent start. I mean, I'm not going to pretend and say like, I was like blown away and I like the show as much as I like Star vs. the Forces of Evil or Avatar: The Last Airbender. But so far, I think Amphibia definitely has a lot of promise in terms of it's already establishing a very interesting lore and things that are probably going to happen down the road in the series. And because it doesn't have that feeling where it feels like, the episode is really, these two episodes feel really self-contained. It does feel like there is a bit of a flowing story going on. So I'm really excited to see where that goes from here, and seeing, what kind of a show we're going to be looking at with Amphibia, just in terms of, is it going to be like super, super epic, or is it going to be something that's a bit more laid back? I'm willing to predict that it's probably going to be something that's more on the side, I guess you could say, of being something more epic, something that's a lot more plot driven and that sort of thing. At least from the vibes I got from watching the ending of the second episode. So I'm really excited to see where this goes. Please leave your thoughts down below on Amphibia. What did you think of these first two episodes? If you watched them, are you excited to see where the series goes? I will say, since, I may as well point this out, if they ever do things like an Amphibia event at something like the Gallery Nucleus or D23, I'd be more than willing to go, even though a lot of the interviews and road trips I've had for my channel mainly involved around Star vs. the Force of Evil. I've always been willing, this isn't just because, Star ended, I've always been willing to also check out other shows and meet people who worked on, other franchises, hence why I interviewed, hence why me and my friends interviewed Ricky Simons from Invader Zim, because in truth, me and Yabby especially really like Invader Zim, so that's why we wanted to interview Ricky Simons. But anyway, getting back to Amphibia, please let me know your thoughts on these two episodes before. Would you recommend it? Who is your favorite character even? Leave all those thoughts down below. This has been Blood Moon Bobby, and thank you guys for watching. Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed this Blood Moon Bobby video. Like and share the video if you enjoyed it, and feel free to leave a comment. Subscribe to my channel, and ring the bell to get notified when I release my latest videos. Follow me at Blood Moon Bobby on your favorite social media platforms to take part in polls, see my tech tips, and to hear about my video plans. Thanks for watching.